Hey everyone, welcome back to another product review. This time I'm here with Databricks. Gonna show us some cool stuff. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Lexy Kassan. I'm lead data and AI strategist with Databricks, working with our team in the Nordics, and I'm very happy to be here at Data Innovation Summit.
Awesome. So what are you gonna walk us through today?
Today I'm going to show you a little bit about Databricks, where we are, who we are, what we've come from, what we're doing now, and what we can do with you.
Databricks does a lot of things.
Yes.
I have a couple of customers that use it for one thing, which is a shame, because it can do a lot of things. And then other ones that have the infinite project, you know, trying to implement everything all at once.
Yeah, that becomes a challenge as you try to do that.
But I think the neat thing about these types of platforms, whether you know, you're a fan of one or the other, is that effectively what they're doing is distilling best practices where we've learned, you know, this is the kind of thing that you need to do in order to democratize data and AI. So in a sense, Databricks is the embodiment of a lot of learnings from the past 10 years, formalized, turned into services. So take it away.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that intro. It's a great way to shape it up. So Databricks has been in this space for quite some time. We've now been around for about 11 years and are at a point where we've got over 10,000 customers globally. As part of our background, we of course have the founders and original creators of Apache Spark, which is one of the biggest open source projects out in the space supporting big data, and that's where we started. And then from that, we've continued to invest in our open source capabilities, so bringing out Delta Lake, of course, MLflow for machine learning, and the latest one, DBRX, fully open source large language model available to use on Databricks and elsewhere should you desire to do so. And what we're trying to do is really empower all industries. So to your point about best practices, it's more than just we want to solve a specific solution in a specific vertical. It's thinking about how we do this across all of the verticals and ensure that every company is able to be in that top spot, winning in their space. And we firmly believe and have for a long time that data and AI is the key to being the winner in your category. To do that, you know, we understand that you have to bring together a lot of capabilities with the best practices built in. And up to this point, getting to that vision, being able to keep all of those different plates spinning, right, get everything working together, it's taken a massive ecosystem. Every bubble kind of isolated on its own, whether it's data science, data warehousing, machine learning versus streaming, and being able to bring all this together took far too much effort. So what we've invested in for Databricks is bringing those silos together, making sure that all of your data can be used in one ecosystem, making sure that you also have the control and governance around it that's necessary for enterprise scale so that you don't have the challenge of doing something with your data and then exposing your company to risk. And trying to lower the barrier from a technical perspective. So knowing that it takes a lot of different skills to operate this ecosystem, from SQL to Python to infrastructure management to generative AI. You know, there's so many different pieces and components, and we want to make sure that everyone can do this. That's what democratizing data is all about. So several years ago, we introduced the concept of the lakehouse, bringing together the best components of your data lake and its ability to have multiple different formats, different types of capabilities to support machine learning and data science, streaming capabilities, with the classic governed techniques of the data warehouse. So bringing all of that together to support reporting and machine learning and so forth with a governance layer that could actually be applied across both structured and unstructured data. All built on a foundation that was open source with Delta. So that file format, that's a best practice, and now acknowledged as one of the best starting parts of the platform in the ecosystems that are being rolled out today. We started that in 2020. Since then, we've seen 74% of enterprises adopting this lakehouse pattern. So seeing the benefit and value of adopting a cohesive landscape for your data estate, completely built on an open foundation. So in addition to, of course, what we've put out there in open source, we also very much rely on having an integrated capability with all of our partners, many of whom are here today in this amazing location and summit. So in all different areas, being able to extend your data and AI ecosystem and integrate across that. Now, of course, Lakehouse was just the start. As you may have heard, last year we acquired Mosaic ML, which brought in generative AI, massive new change and capability for us. And that's allowed us to create the data intelligence platform. And that really allows the ability to bring those capabilities of data and AI into the business. So before, the Lakehouse had a great foundation in bringing all of your data and AI together for your technical users. Now we're seeing that move out into the business to the point where business users can get value directly out of that data without having to go through the cycles of data and analytics.
Right.
How that works is taking the same Lakehouse idea and adding Databricks IQ, which is a generative AI-powered intelligence engine so that it understands the context of your business, the semantics of your data, so that you can actually start to bring the business directly in to take advantage of everything that was already available in your ecosystem.
So this Databricks IQ relates to both the ETL, the orchestration, the warehousing, and the data science. It sort of touches on all of them.
It can, yes. So what we're doing is taking advantage of Unity Catalog, which now, in addition to cataloging your data, also has understanding of what code has been put into your system. How have you, in your business, queried your data before? What models have been pulled in? Unity Catalog is not just for the data. You can catalog files, you can catalog models. So it understands where all of these are. When you ask a question of Databricks, Unity Catalog can support Databricks IQ in understanding your data and providing a contextually relevant answer to you.
Right. Cool.
All right. So I mentioned it relies on Unity Catalog. This is getting insights based on natural language. And again, taking advantage of Delta. So that automatically optimizing. This is a new capability. Again, I said kind of lowering that bar, lowering the ramp to get onto Databricks and making sure that you can take advantage of all of this. So within the Databricks IQ capabilities is automatic optimization of your data and of the way that your data is used, so that you don't have to worry as somebody who maybe was in an infrastructure capacity, how do you need to lay out your data? Specifically, how do you optimize Spark to run on the data? These types of very technical questions are automatically handled as part of Databricks IQ.
Oh.
So that you can have your data rearranged and your usage rearranged so that it takes advantage of all of the scalability of Databricks without having to make manual adjustments.
Okay. That sounds neat.
Yeah. In addition, with generative AI capabilities, again, kind of going up the stack, you then have the ability with Databricks IQ to ask questions and go from text to either a query that's created for you. So as a business user, I can just ask a question, and it will tell me, hey, run this chunk of code, or go directly to a visualization. Show me a chart of my sales in the last 6 months. And it knows what that means. It knows that when I say sales, I mean dollars. Or I mean units.
Can I ask something like,
Please.
What is the best-selling product in this month? Something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what it would do is based on how you define products, how you've queried for products, and what understanding it has of the context of your business, it would run an appropriate query and provide back some results that say, here's the top 10 or whatever it might be to show you this product, this many units, what have you. And it understands, the last month means 30 days.
Because what you want to do is not necessarily describe a query using text. You want to ask a semantic question, something like that. And then it's smart enough to understand what SQL query would give you the answer to that question.
Exactly. And the answer to that question varies from business to business. What constitutes a product? Is it a
customer
SKU?
or anything?
Exactly. So how do you make sure that you're really getting the right answer for your business? And that's what Databricks IQ is all about, is building the knowledge of your business and how you answer questions, what it means to have a top product in your world versus anybody else. And that model is tuned specific to you, and you own the nuance of your context. That never leaves your environment. So we're very firm on the fact that our customers own their own data, that you have control of the data and models in your environment. So that information doesn't come back to us. It doesn't go to anyone else. That stays in your environment.
Cool.
So I mentioned before kind of automatically optimizing the layout of data based on your usage patterns. We're also optimizing the jobs based on how they've run in the past. so that instead of having to select how many VMs and what type and how long they should run and when to turn them on, we know, because you've done it before, we need to have a certain amount of compute, or we need to be able to provision it in a certain way to optimize for cost or for speed, whatever it is you prefer, and make sure that you're getting the best performance out of your workflows. Those are those constantly running, automated jobs. We want to make sure that those, which are the bulk of most of the processing, are happening as needed in the most efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
Delta Live tables is where we're starting to look at automated data quality. Mm-hmm. So up to this point, when you talk about governance and data quality and making sure you have trusted data, it's always been, okay, set your expectations. You have to configure every single thing. Where should it be null? Where should it not be null? Should dates always be in the past? Should we allow people to have birthdays more than 120 years ago? Whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Now, with Delta Live tables and Databricks IQ, you have the ability for it to automatically understand what the data should look like and apply rules automatically for you, so that it understands what data quality means. It kind of understands that nuance, and can apply appropriate filters to either quarantine data.
How does this work? Is this a little bit like GitHub Copilot for programmers? Like, I wouldn't expect it to write something for me, but it can tab complete quite a lot. So I imagine here with like data quality, it would be very useful, because a lot of it is just rote work, Mm-hmm. If it could make suggestions, and then I say, yeah, that looks really reasonable, go. Mm-hmm. Or is it all automatic in the back? Like, how does it work in practice?
So there are a couple of different ways. With Databricks Assistant, you have that kind of Copilot experience where you can say, write some code that creates a pipeline that does this. Okay, it generates some code, and you say, okay, yeah, that looks good, but change this part.
Right.
And it'll regenerate. You can also have it answer questions about the code that's already there. Like, show me why this is acting in a way I didn't expect. And it will look at the code and try to give you information about it. Or, why did I get this error? And, error handling is one of those fun ones that you get a fun error code and you go, what the heck does that mean? So you want it to be able to give you more information about how you fix it. Right. And then you can say, okay, fix it. So it can do that. In this, what we're really looking at is, how does the data look? So if you profile your data and you understand, generally speaking, you only see amounts from 0 to 20 or something like that. If it starts seeing values of -50, it's going to say, this doesn't look right. It's sort of like automated anomaly detection that can say, we think this is not right.
Okay.
So in Delta Live tables, rather than having to enumerate every single rule, it can try to predict what the rules should be.
Okay.
And then you can say, yep, that's what I want.
Okay, but it makes suggestions and says, these dates are probably reasonable and you should stick to those, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Cool.
So some of the other things that are interesting with the automatic generation, and I don't know that it's actually stated here, but in Databricks IQ and in Unity Catalog, you can have it automatically generate for you descriptions of your data. So as a catalog, one of the hardest things to do is get somebody to populate the data, right?
Yeah.
From a data governance perspective, that's a massive lift.
Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of times it's filled in, but they write something like finance data, and you're like,
great.
Yeah, thanks.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
I'll use that.
Yeah.
What this can do is, based on how the data has come in, so all the lineage that you get,
the
naming of the fields, the way that you've worked with it.
That's pretty cool to take the lineage into account.
Absolutely. So it can actually look at all of that information, all the contextual information it has, and generate a very rich description, not only of the data set as a whole, but each field within your schema, so that you can then, as a data owner, go in and say, yeah, that looks good, or I need to make a couple of adjustments. And then as soon as you accept them, it's available for the rest of the organization to use that to help them find data that's good quality.
I think one of the reasons catalogs haven't been living up to their full potential is precisely because it's like commenting code. I think we're good at it now. We have processes where we make sure that people do comment, but people haven't been using the catalog the way they should, and then it doesn't provide the value that it could. But with like these kinds of tools, it could potentially do that, even though people wouldn't be willing to otherwise. Discoverability, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. I mean, you say we're good at documentation, but I can't tell you any time I've gone to any developer and said, hey, so how's your documentation coming along? And they didn't just roll their eyes and groan at me. So I feel like generative AI is one of those tools that partially may have been created for us to help us with our own work.
Even with code, though, right? So the coolest
Yeah.
way to write functions is to write a comment that describes the function perfectly, and then get the AI to write the function for you.
Exactly. And with Databricks Assistant, you can do that in our tools as well.
There we go.
Cool. All right, and then finally, Mosaic AI. Based on the Mosaic acquisition, creating, tuning, and serving your own custom LLMs here, and being able to use all of the rich information that's available to you in that. All right. A little bit more about some of those capabilities, because we're known in the industry now for our data management capabilities and our tooling around how we can serve with big data. But really, a lot of what we're doing today has more to do with AI and machine learning. So in addition to our existing capabilities around ML flow, the model registry, ML ops, the more traditional machine learning, or I heard it referred to as classical machine learning. And classical neural
Golden
nets
age.
was a new one that I heard, and I went, oh man, I'm getting old. But in addition to all of that, now we're also doing a tremendous amount with generative AI. Of course, helping our customers to create custom models. Also using quite a wide variety of available LLMs to help with fine-tuning and retrieval augmented generation, which is one of the most efficient ways of leveraging LLMs today. And of course, releasing DBRX, which we're very proud of. Our mixture of experts model that came out is fully open.
Open or?
Open.
Yeah.
Open.
Real open.
Real open. Wait's available, so do take a look. So with all of this, what we see is democratizing data and extending data and AI to everyone in the organization, not just the people who know how to code.
Nice.
Right. We've called that Project Genie. So that's that data and AI for everyone with natural language, being able to use your data and your context.
Awesome.
Cool.
Project Genie.
Yes.
How many wishes do you get?
As many as you can type in the prompts. So from the data intelligence platform, it's truly democratizing data and AI, allowing you to access your information contextually with natural language. It's simple, removes that complexity to operate so that you don't have to be experts in every little button and toggle and lever. And giving you the ability to do custom AI on your own private data. Again, keeping everything within your control and making sure that you're maintaining the privacy that you need to bring this to enterprise.
Yeah. You know, for my own part, in implementing some LLM setups on Databricks, there are some quality of life things that are often underappreciated while you're doing like a POC or hack and slash. Because if you set up your model serving, your RAG, your your little user interface and stuff, you're not thinking about SSL between the components or authentication, authorization, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you have some kind of portal where you need to log in, but these components don't have any of that in between them. Do you preserve the ownership of the data when you move things around? All that. That stuff is really hard to do on your own. And here, you don't have to care about any of that.
Yep.
I mean, there's pros and cons with being able to do whatever you want with every single component. But sometimes when you just want to get things done, it's like with deep neural networks. People are like, oh, you could actually use this specific model, and it would be much better. I don't care. You can just throw more layers at it, and it figures it out by itself.
Yeah.
This is sort of what Databricks is for me. It's about just getting things done, and everything is there. The governance, like you said, I don't need to argue with compliance and the legal and the stuff because Databricks is approved.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite neat to see all these Gen AI features coming quite quickly.
Yeah, and we have a tremendous suite of tooling that's coming for generative AI between our AI Playground and our RAG Studio, giving you the opportunity to test prompts against multiple models and see which one's going to be the best in your situation.
Right. Yep.
And then check to make sure that the governance can be applied, put in place, retrieval augmentation on a set of, corpus of text that your business says is relevant and curated, so that you really start to get high quality without having to worry about all the nuts and bolts. They're there if you want to use them.
Yeah.
But we're trying to make it easier, so you have a balance.
That makes sense. All right, cool.
Cool. So that's a bit about where we are.
Awesome. Well, there you heard it. I mean, if you want to get started with generative AI and you just want to skip over the POC phase and go into stuff that's ready for production, Databricks has got you covered. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening, and thank you so much for presenting here.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
We will see you in the next product review in just a short moment.